Welcome to our deep dive into the world of leftist hypocrisy. Today, we're going to expose the double standards and contradictions that define wokeism. Get ready to be triggered. Just kidding. We're going to have some fun with this. The left can't meme, and they certainly can't take a joke. Let's see if we can get a rise out of them. We're going to break down the hypocrisy into 7 digestible bites. You ready? Let's go. The Second Amendment, a cornerstone of American freedom. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Pretty straightforward, right? Not to the left. They interpret it differently. They want to take away your guns. They argue it's for the greater good, for public safety. They say it will make us safer. But here's the hypocrisy. They don't practice what they preach. While they push for gun control for everyday Americans, they surround themselves with armed security. They live by a different set of rules. Politicians, celebrities, Hollywood elites, they all have armed guards. They ensure their own safety with the very tools they want to deny you. They live in gated communities with private security forces. These are places where the average person cannot afford to live. They believe in protecting themselves, but not you. They think their lives are more valuable. They see themselves as different, as elite. They think they deserve protection, but you don't. Your safety is not their concern. It's about control. They want to dictate how you live. They want a disarmed populace, ripe for their brand of authoritarianism. History has shown us what happens when citizens are disarmed. When the people are disarmed, they are easier to control. They lose their power to resist. The Second Amendment is not just about guns. It's about freedom. It's about ensuring that power remains with the people. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for your freedom. Because without the Second Amendment, all other freedoms are at risk. Borders are racist. Walls don't work. We've all heard these leftist talking points. Open borders, they say, are compassionate and just. But here's the catch. These same leftists who decry walls and borders often live in gated communities, protected by, you guessed it, walls. They want open borders for you, but not for themselves. They want to feel safe and secure in their own homes, but they don't extend that same courtesy to the nation as a whole. It's the height of hypocrisy. They preach open borders while living in their own little gated fiefdoms. They champion sanctuary cities and open borders. They welcome illegal immigrants with open arms. But there's a catch, of course. They want these illegal immigrants in your neighborhood, not theirs. They support policies that overwhelm border towns and strain social services, but they don't want to deal with the consequences themselves. They live in affluent neighborhoods, far removed from the realities of illegal immigration. It's easy to be compassionate with other people's money, other people's neighborhoods, other people's lives. But when it comes to their own backyards, suddenly the tune changes. Chapter 4. Free speech for me, but not for thee. The left claims to be the champion of free speech, but only when it's speech they agree with. If you dare to dissent, if you hold a different opinion, you're labeled a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a Nazi. You're silenced, deplatformed, canceled. They say they want a dialogue, but they only want a monologue. They want to control the narrative, to dictate what you can and cannot say. This isn't free speech, it's speech with an asterisk. It's the opposite of what our founding fathers intended. Chapter 5. The Token Minority. The left loves to parade around their token minorities, showcasing them at every opportunity. They use them as props to prove their supposed tolerance and diversity. But here's the irony. As soon as a minority steps out of line, as soon as they dare to think for themselves and express conservative views, the left turns on them with a vengeance. They're called Uncle Toms, sellouts, race traitors. The very people who once celebrated their diversity now attack them with vitriol. They're accused of betraying their race, of being traitors to their community. The left doesn't care about diversity of thought, they care about conformity. They want minorities who will toe the line, who will parrot their talking points. They want minorities who will never question their orthodoxy, who will always support their agenda without hesitation. The moment a minority individual expresses a different viewpoint, they are ostracized and vilified. The left's version of diversity is superficial, it only goes skin deep. True diversity includes a variety of perspectives and ideas, but that is not what the left promotes. They want a monolithic block of thought, where everyone agrees with their ideology. They celebrate minorities only when they conform to their expectations, when they echo the same sentiments and beliefs. This is not genuine acceptance or inclusion. It is a demand for uniformity disguised as diversity. Chapter 6. Democracy is only valid when they win. The left loves to throw around the word democracy. They claim to be the defenders of democracy, but they don't seem to understand what democracy actually means. It's not just about majority rule. It's about protecting the rights of the minority. How can you really say you are for democracy when your own candidate was installed by party elites and received 0 votes? The left is quick to cry foul when they lose an election. They claim voter suppression, foreign interference, anything to delegitimize the results. Remember 2016 and the Russian collusion hoax. They screamed Russia, Russia, Russia. For years, some are still yelling it. They refuse to accept the will of the people when it doesn't align with their own agenda. Chapter 7. Transgenderism, the pinnacle of leftist hypocrisy. Transgenderism is perhaps the most glaring example of leftist hypocrisy. The left often champions the cause of transgender rights, advocating for the acceptance and inclusion of transgender individuals in all aspects of society. They claim that gender is fluid, that a man can become a woman and vice versa simply by identifying as such. This perspective is rooted in the belief that gender is a social construct, not a biological reality, but at the same time, they cling to the very stereotypes they claim to be dismantling. For instance, they argue that traditional gender roles are outdated and oppressive, yet they often reinforce these roles by insisting that transgender individuals conform to them. They say that men who identify as women are no different from biological women, and then praise the male when he dominates in women's sports. This creates a paradox where the left simultaneously argues for the erasure of gender distinctions while also maintaining them in certain contexts. They demand that we accept transgender women as real women. They kept telling us to trust the science during COVID, so I say, trust the science. Scientifically, there are only 2 genders. This contradiction highlights the inconsistency in their arguments and policies. It's a blatant double standard. On one hand, they push for the inclusion of transgender individuals in all areas of life, but on the other hand, they impose restrictions and create exceptions that undermine their own principles. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be seen as champions of progress and inclusivity, but they are not willing to address the complexities and contradictions within their own ideology. They want to be seen as progressive and inclusive, but they're not willing to follow their own logic to its natural conclusion. This selective application of principles reveals a deeper issue within the leftist approach to transgenderism, one that prioritizes ideological purity over practical consistency. Wokeism, leftist hypocrisy in action. So the next time someone asks you to define woke, just remember it's leftist hypocrisy. It's saying one thing and doing another. It's saying abortion is a right to kill your babies while trying to ban guns so no one gets killed. It's demanding one set of rules for themselves and another set of rules for everyone else. It's sending your children to private schools while denying that right to others. It's about control, power, and silencing dissent. Don't buy into their virtue signaling and double standards. Think critically. Question everything. And above all, don't be afraid to call out hypocrisy wherever you see it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.